Hey guys, and welcome back to the Upside Down playthrough. Now, as you may have seen in the title, this is actually the second half of a Part 2 miniseries, so if you've not yet seen Part 1, you should definitely go check it out. When we last left off, I had just beaten the Wall of Flesh and entered Hardmode, so not wasting any time, I crafted myself a molten pickaxe and made my way over to the Corruption in order to smash some altars. And interestingly enough, even though the altars were in the ceiling, the process was actually slightly easier than normal because they all broke in one hit. I also noticed that a couple of the altars that broke actually spawned 2 ores, and I'm not really sure what would have caused this, but if anything it helped me, so I kinda just ignored it. Once I felt that I had enough ore spawned, I made my way back to base and got to mining. Once I had mined enough to craft myself a full set of platinum armor, I set off to the hollow in order to collect some pixie dust for a pair of fairy wings. I also wanted to farm the hollow enemies so that I could craft some holy arrows for my upcoming fight with the destroyer. Once I had finished farming, I collected up the resources to craft a mechanical worm and I started the fight. Using the power of stars imbued in my arrows, I pelted the mechanical worm from my platform in the sky, but as effective as the holy arrows are, I still struggled with the fight a bit, mainly because I had a roof of lava and ash that limited my mobility. However, even with this inconvenience, I was still able to prevail and defeat the boss. Now with the worm out of the way, it was time to move on to the twins. But before I did so, I decided I wanted to switch my arrows out for cursed, which would actually be pretty easy for me because I had collected up a bunch of cursed flames while farming for souls of night. So, with my new arrows in hand, I spawned the twins and began the fight. Unfortunately for me, however, the twins were especially fierce that night, and although I tried my best, they eventually got me. Even though I had been defeated, I knew that I could get the better of the twins with another attempt, so I waited for the next night to summon them again. But apparently, they got a little overconfident with their first victory, because as soon as night fell, before I could summon them myself, I got a message informing me that the twins were already on their way. As the twins approached for the second time, I decided to play the fight a little more passive, so that I could hopefully stay out of harm's way. And this new playstyle paid off, because before long, I had taken out Spazz. With the loss of his brother, Retinizer stood no chance, but that's not to say he didn't put up a fight. His rapid-fire lasers are not something you want to underestimate. However, with some more careful dodging, I was able to overcome them and take down the boss. With the destroyer and the twins taken out, I knew that there was only one mechanical boss left, Skeletron Prime. Beginning the fight, Prime almost immediately began making dashes for me, but unfortunately for him, my speed was enough to stay out of harm's way. After not long, I was able to get the boss down to critical levels of health. Realizing his danger, Prime began flailing his arms in an attempt to swat me out of the sky, but it was no use. With a few more shots from my bow, I was able to take out the boss. Now, with the 3 mechs out of the way, I used my hollowed bars to craft myself a brand new set of armor. Along with the armor, I also made a pickaxe. Using my new tool, I took a trip to the jungle in order to mine some chlorophyte. With the help of a splunker potion, I was able to get enough ore to craft myself a brand new repeater, the chlorophyte shot bow. Shortly after I crafted my bow, the skies darkened as a solar eclipse began. Seeing the potential of the eclipse, I decided to fight it out on the surface. After the danger had subsided, I surveyed my loot and noticed that I had gotten a broken bat wing. So, using some extra souls of flight that I had laying around, I upgraded my wings. Now that I had upgraded a good portion of my gear, I decided it was time to fight Plantera, so I returned to the jungle and used some sticky dynamite to clear myself an arena. After some slight struggles, I managed to finish the construction and was ready for the fight, so I quickly located a bulb close to my arena and spawned the plant. As Plantera began shooting her petals at me, I fired back with my new shot bow, and after not long, I managed to get her down to half health. Not wanting to go down without a fight, Plantera blew off her outer layer and revealed the much more menacing looking inside. However, even with her best efforts, I was still able to come out on top. With the head plant out of the way and the temple key in my possession, I now set out to locate Golem. After not long, I located his chamber. Not wasting any time, I inserted a power cell and summoned him to face me. Upset that I had awoken him, Golem began lashing out at me with his fists. But fortunately, the power of my arrows was able to counter them and keep me safe. With the fists out of the way, the Golem kicked it up a notch and ejected his head into the sky. With fireballs and lasers whizzing by me, I knew time was of the essence. Giving everything I had into the assault, I pummeled Golem with the arrows. Unable to withstand my attacks any longer, Golem's body burst into pieces and his loot fell to the floor. With Golem defeated, I now set my sights on the pillars, so I made my way down to the dungeon and attacked the cultists. Unhappy with my actions, their lunatic leader flew after me in an attempt to get revenge, and to be honest, I had a couple of close calls, but after a long fight, I did manage to take him down, and the Lunar Invasion began. Fortunately, the Vortex pillar spawned very close to my base, making it easy to farm, so I set off to weaken its shield. After a slightly annoying session of fighting Vortex vortex enemies, I managed to take down the pillar. Using the fragments from the pillar, I made myself a brand new bow before heading off to the next one. After spending some time fighting the nebula and solar pillars, I decided that infinite flight would be a nice luxury to have. So, I put my celestial task on hold, and I made my way over to the hollow to get myself a prismatic lacewing. As night fell on my world, I released the butterfly and spawned the Empress Alight. Although she did put up quite a fight, the powerful late game gear that I had acquired made pretty quick work of her. With the Empress out of the way, I now had infinite flight, and I felt ready for Moonlord. But before I began the fight, it occurred to me that I had never actually crafted shroomite armor, so I made my way back to the jungle to mine up some more glorified ore. After a bit of mining and some mushroom collection, I crafted myself the armor that I desired. I also decided that I wanted to switch from bows to guns, so I crafted a vortex beater and some chlorophyte bullets. After finishing off the final pillar, I quickly made my way down to the underworld so that I could have more room for the fight. After a blinding flash of light, the Lord of the Moon appeared before me. Unhappy with my actions, he quickly began firing lasers in my direction. Knowing that the fight would get harder after every eye was defeated, I made sure to get all 3 of them low before killing any. With his eyes removed, Moonlord's core was exposed, but this did not mean the fight was over. Angered by my attacks on him, Moonlord began ramping up his assault with the help of the true eyes of Cthulhu. While continuing to fire my gun, I focused all of my effort onto dodging his deadly attacks. As the end of the fight drew near, Moonlord made one final attempt to defeat me, but it was no use. With another flash of light, the Moonlord was gone and his loot was mine. If you guys enjoyed the video, consider subscribing to be notified when I upload more in the future. And if you would like to see live content, I have a Twitch channel where I stream 4 times a week. There will be a link in the description of the video. But with that out of the way, thank you for watching and I will see you guys next time.